Chapter 12, Calling All Cave People. How are we ever going to get out of this mess? Asked Harold. I don't know, said George, but we are gonna need Tippy Tickle trousers if we ever want to get back home. Are you kidding? Said Harold. We can't trust that guy. He can't even trust himself. I know, said George, but Tippy has a time machine and we don't. So we're gonna have to defeat him. But we need an army to defeat that guy, said Harold. So let's get an army. So let's go get an army, said George. The four friends glided above the grassy plains as they followed the sounds of the beating drums. Soon they arrived, of course. The drumming was getting louder. Cracker swooped down and landed behind some bushes. Near the caves, just behind them, was the Cavepeople village. George and Harold and Crackers and Sulu peeked over the thick bushes as they watched the cave people go about their daily routines. They seemed peaceful, so George decided to speak up. Hello, said George. We're in peace. We are friends. The cave people looked confused and straddled. They did not seem to understand. Maybe they don't speak English, said Harold. Why? Said George, who only spoke one other language. Today. That didn't work either. The cave people grunted and sniffed at George and Harold and their pets, but they said nothing. Suddenly, off in the distance, the sounds of the gigantic footsteps came thundering through the deep forest. Tippy was coming, and he was getting closer and closer with each terrifying stomp. I know you're in that village, Tippy screamed, but you can't hide from me. Crash. Tippy crashed through the trees and stomped into the village, kicking over hunts and smushing everything in sight. The terrified cave people grabbed their children and ran for the safety of the caves behind their village. George and Harold and Crackers and Sulu ran into the caves also, and hid with the cave people in the darkness as the destruction outside continued. After a while, some cave teenagers started the fire. The flickering light illuminated the massive walls off of the caves. So as cave people whimpered and huddled together in horror. Wow, said George. Some army they turned out to be. It's not their fault, said Harold. They've never seen a giant Robopants before. They're just scared. If we could only communicate with them, said George. There's gotta be some way to reach them. Harold looked up at the giant blank walls of the cave. How about pictures? He asked. Hey, good idea, said George. Harold walked over to the campfire and grabbed a smoking stick from the burning cellars. Then he went off in the giant cave and started to create the world's first cave drawing. At first, the cave people were amused. They had never seen anybody draw before. They laughed and pointed and jumped through up and down every time Harold drew something new. You know, if I ever travel back in time, well, a time machine before I was born, for 2000 or something, right? Or blah blah blah. Then I might just like, well, you know, should travel, use the burning stick and just gets fire and then burn the stick and then destroy something on them in the cave, I think. But when Harold drew Tippy as the and his robo pants, the cave people became frightened. They grunted nervously and lowered their heads in fierce submission. Wow, said Harold. How are we ever going to change their minds about Tippy? I know, said George. Let's make a world less comic. They'll understand that. Good idea, said Harold. Let's do it! So George and Harold found the ladder and began creating the world's very first comic. The cave people watched with excitement as George and Harold's tale unfolded. Soon their opinions on Tippy and his robo pants began to evolve.